Okay, yesterday there was a school shooting at Annunciation Catholic School, which is a K through 8th um, private school in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I don't want to get into this without just taking a moment to, think about them. We lost an 8-year-old, we lost a 10-year-old, and 17 people were wounded in the shooting. And it just doesn't feel right to start without thinking of them. So let's do that for a minute. Okay, Nate, I would love it if you would introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit more about you as an individual. I've known you for a couple of decades, but what would you like people to know about who you are?
Well, Winnie, first, thank you for having me, and thank you for saying that about the kids and the families who were uh, affected yesterday. And just a sad day. But I'm Nate Haney. You and I know each other for a long time. We went to college together. I'm from East Kentucky. I have 3 kids and a beautiful wife. My kids are 10, 11, and 13. Uh, luckily, luckily, I got to drop them at school this morning. But I am a an Eastern Kentuckian. I grew up um, in the mountains of East Kentucky, hunting, fishing, running the streets. A great, wonderful upbringing, wonderful family, strong family, and conservative. I've been the chairman of the Republican Party for a couple of counties. I sit on the executive committee. Over the years, I have been a delegate to the Republican National Convention twice. I sat as one of 100 people to be on the platform committee for the Republican National uh, Committee. So I live in Louisville, Kentucky, own a business, coach basketball, volunteer for some organizations, and certainly am part of Whitney Strong.
You, Nate. As I mentioned, I've known you for a couple decades, and I remember meeting you in college, and you were very clear in your political identity as a Republican, and I know you still are today. I'd love to hear what it is about the Republican Party and the values within it that attract you.
Sure. Obviously, Republican Party is a party of traditional values. It's of small government. It's of rights and freedom and individualism and hard work and um, people who believe in strong military, peace by strength, um, often driven by strong Christian or Catholic ideology. Um, so all of these things, family, um, all of these things are reasons that I am um, and always have been a Republican.
Thank you, Nate. So I tell people regularly that people on both sides of the political spectrum want to see solutions to gun violence, that both sides are in immense pain, can be in immense pain after these things happened. And we just saw that with you. Can you tell me, as a Republican, the evolution you've had on this specific issue? Was it always important to you? Were you thinking about this in college, or did it come to you over time?
No, it definitely came to me over time. Uh, as uh, more and more of these events occur and tragedy occurs. Um, I can think back probably when I started thinking more about these types of issues was during 9/11, um, when I realized that there is obvious evil among us, and how can we um, how can we combat that? But really, this started coming to more clear focus to me as we started seeing so many mass uh, shootings in our country, and also as we learn so frequently that somebody that we know has taken their own life. And so, um, when you asked me to get involved, I wanted to because I think that we have to have people who are willing to listen, to do, um, to seek first to understand before just shouting our own opinions that might not fully be baked. And that's one of the reasons that I'm involved here with Whitney Strong. But that's kind of how I came to believe this is an important issue. I have my kids are 10, 11, and 13. COVID hit them at a difficult time as well, where things like social media, um, isolation, online bullying, um, all of these things where kind of a dehumanization of our society, especially for our kids, where they weren't on a regular interaction with each other. They could say things or they saw things being said about other people, um, and it was okay. Uh, that I also believe is one of the major drivers of my energy for this larger issue that we face right now.
Nate, you and I have experienced in our work together that a lot of people think that the Republican platform and values don't square with trying to prevent gun violence. And we've seen otherwise. You are an example of that. And I wonder if you could share with others maybe examples of people like you, or what makes you feel confident that this is an issue that your party cares about and wants to participate in solving.
Well, sure. Well, first of all, the Republican Party is very much pro-life, and whenever you're pro-life, that doesn't just mean unborn uh, kids, unborn humans. This also means people who are walking on our earth today together and being able to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and being able to have your rights for your entire lifetime. These are all very Republican and very conservative values. When we look at uh, a common phrase in the Republican Party is law and order. We certainly believe in security and safety. Um, so I would say that this issue very much fits in the Republican Party. And I would say that my frustration is that last night we heard so much from so many political people. Um, from the right, we heard, um, that Minnesota has gun laws. And from the left, we heard that we don't need thoughts and prayers anymore. We need you know, gun control. Um, we hear that this is a mental health issue. Um, so I would just say that it is all of those things. That when we relegate our position to 140 characters or less, when we relegate it to clickbait, when we try to find a headline out of what we say, we never actually get to the issue. And so, I would say and urge our leaders to have a forum where you can have a discussion and understand that this is a very complex issue, that this is more than mental health issues. This is more than uh, a gun issue. This is a humanity issue where we no longer can, as individuals, only be concerned with ourselves. It is time for us to watch out for one another. And you know, you can save your sons or daughters' lives by doing that, um, by speaking up, by trying to seek help for people who might be in a bad time of their life. Um, these are things that we used to always do. And now there's a stigma that you might upset someone or hurt someone's feelings if you think that something that they're doing is unusual or out of the ordinary. But I urge you to do it anyway, to try to seek help for people, to engage with your neighbor, like you maybe have not done over the last 15 or 20 years. So I think this is certainly a conservative Republican issue. Being able to worship in your church safely, being able to send your kids to school safely, um, that is every person issue.
Nate, we're on the same page and that we both know and experience Republicans who want to help in this issue, many of them. I wonder if you have any advice for our audience on how we can continue to broaden the movement. And of course, it's getting more Republicans involved, but it goes much deeper than that, right? It's getting people involved from rural areas. It's getting the many responsible gun owners among us involved. And I know you believe that's what we're doing at Whitney Strong and why you're a part of it, but what ideas do you have? What encouragement do you have for our audience that what we're building is real and growing?
Well, I would say that even if you look at President Trump's populist message that has created a movement, the fact of the matter is that I am absolutely convinced that the mass majority of us believe that we can try to solve this issue, and that it is an issue that requires dialogue. It requires research. It requires data. It requires people that are fed up and concerned whenever they see a headline that comes on their phone that there's been a mass shooting at a school. So, I would urge people certainly to join Whitney Strong, because I believe that Whitney, what you have created and done out of passion because of your own private personal experience and the hurt that you have and that you have endured, that you have created the best place to have these conversations. You're not concerned. Um, about having difficult conversations and hearing opinions that might not be exactly yours, like the fact that you talk to the NRA, or the fact that you're willing at any cost to talk to people who are opposing um, a solution that you might present. But my biggest thing is I think that more and more people have to get involved with Whitney Strong, because we can petition, we can write letters, we can be centers of influence in your community, which the communities that I grew up in. I grew up in a community of 5,300 people. We had a guy commit suicide. I believe he was a sophomore or junior, just as, before school one day, and it tears your community apart. So, you know, be a center of influence in your community. Speak to your leaders. It might be have to be in private. That's okay, because these issues are very important, and they're complex, and they're not easy, and they're not fully solvable. These are things that, if you look at, for example, what occurred, and there's so much information coming out about yesterday, but my understanding is that Minnesota has some laws in place that could have potentially prevented this situation. So it requires action from people. You cannot just assume that your son or daughter or your cousin or nephew is not going to be the person shooting. They absolutely can be. All of our kids could be the shooter. You have to know what is going on in their lives and how to help them. And it doesn't mean that they're going to shoot a school. It might just be that they shoot themselves. How tragic that in and of itself is. So, uh, I would urge people to get involved, and to start having these dialogues, and to quit labeling one another because we have difference of opinions. Instead, let's talk about how and where we actually align that might be able to save people's lives from gun violence. I think the mission is that simple.
I have a couple more questions, Nate. We're both people of faith, and I know that drives our actions. And I think there are a lot of people out there, both those who support Whitney Strong and those who would like to, who are also people of faith. I absolutely got into this because I was shot 12 times and my life changed forever. But the truth of the matter is, there was also a very strong current of faith running through me that said, you were given a gift, you have to do something to help others. And so I wanted to share this verse that really drives me. It's 1 John 3:18. Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. And we've talked about the fights people like to get into about prayers versus action. It's silly, it's all the things, but I wonder if you could share how your faith drives you and provide an invitation for other people of faith of all kinds to join in with us.
Yeah, Whitney. Obviously, faith has been a big part of my life. Um, like so many of the people in our community, I've had both very deep um, and profound um, faith journey, and I've moved away, and I've come back, and I've gotten deeper, and that's just my walk with Christ. Um, but God, we are all God's children. We are all created in the image of God, and you know, just based on that alone. You have to have compassion. You have to have compassion. You have to have empathy. You have to have sympathy. You have to lean into the fact that we're all sinners and um, that it's not easy uh, to be um, what you need to be, and that you have to have grace for others. And that to me is so big because we all fail and we all need somebody rather than ridicule us for that failure to say, hey, it's okay. I have too. And let me come alongside you. So much of this is the case with where we are right now in this country and around the world, um, due to this sort of dehumanization that the only thing that you portray is your perfect, exact, wonderful life. But no, all of us know that that life is not really what is happening today. And if you are found to do something that might be considered a failure, in business or in the way that you have interacted with your kids or someone in the community, that you are ridiculed for that you are um, instead of someone coming around you and saying, "Hey, there's strong arms around you. We got you." This is, you know, I've been there before. I've had difficult times in my life as well, and I think that my faith drives me in that manner to have more grace than I think as growing up that I had. I think this is something that I have that has come. Uh, it's kind of come full circle for me from having a sort of a rigid worldview to having an understanding that I still have a very strong, principled worldview, but I understand that people from different circumstances in life and different experiences in their life have different thoughts on things and react in different ways than maybe I would, and that's okay. Uh, but we're all in this together. I mean, we are all God's children.
Wait, sorry. I, I want to close with I got a lot of calls yesterday and a lot of text messages from people that I know care and support the work of Whitney Strong, but because their children are in Catholic schools, or maybe they just for the first time saw more clearly that these shootings could happen to their kids or to them, were really, really upset. And I find that really hard because I personally am very upset and I wish I could be the only person upset in these moments, but it obviously spreads to many, many people across the country who could Americans who just love their kids and want them to be safe. And so I try to do my best to listen and to remind them that there is a place for them to engage and that there is hope, that we are seeing change, not fast enough, of course, but the ticket to faster change is them and to participate to do so. And so I'd like to close with I'm sure you've had some similar conversations. I know you've been thinking about this as an individual. What have you been telling others um, as to why there is hope? What can they hope for? How can they participate?
Certainly, getting involved with your local leaders is incredibly important. Um, there certainly is hope because of people like Whitney Strong and or organizations like Whitney Strong and Sandy Hook Promise and people who are willing to have these dialogues and but also who are organizations of action. You know, gun safety kits, Whitney, that you have that we have funded, been able to fund, and in the past get grants for to go out into communities to make sure that guns are safely that safe gun ownership, so that people can't just go in and grab a gun from the counter top or wherever they can get it. This is very important stuff. All of these types of things are currently going on. You're in constant dialogue about legislation that could potentially save lives from gun violence, in particular suicide. When we look at the spike in suicide, handgun violence, it's gone significantly up, while homicide by gun violence has gone actually not up anywhere close to where suicide by gun has. And so we there is hope that we can come together as a community and as human beings to make sure that we watch out for one another and that we put other people in front of ourselves, which is, I think, very, very important because as I had to explain to my kids last night at dinner, um, unfortunately, you have to be aware of your surroundings and you have to be willing to, pull a teacher to the side and say, hey, I saw something this morning that might have made me feel uncomfortable, or hey, that was a very odd way that person just interacted with me. I just wanted to let you know. Uh, so, unfortunately, uh, to build that critical mass, it's going to take a lot of guts from people to get involved because um, what we see is that folks want to get involved after they see a mass shooting. And we want to stop the mass shootings. We want to stop the suicides if we can. Um, so it's in the lull periods. It's in the periods where we get back to normal life. And this is no longer because our lives are all so busy right now, running kids everywhere and work. And, maybe your parents are in bad health or whatever it may be, that today is the day that this is still on your mind. Go ahead and join. Go ahead and join an organization who's having these dialogues so that you're getting the emails, so that you're getting the opportunities to attend an event where you might be able to meet someone, where you're able to maybe participate in a community forum, or you're able to stop by Frankfort, Kentucky to talk to a legislator, things of this nature that you would not ordinarily have on your radar. So if you're feeling this bad today, you're going to feel this bad. You're going to feel this emotional and mental just exhaustion again. Unfortunately, we're going to have a situation like this happen again. So why not try now to get involved so that we can stop it?
Thank you very much, Nate. Anything else you want to say?
No, Whitney, just thank you for your leadership and willingness to be called bad names for trying to come up with a solution to save people's lives. To me, this is one of the most noble things you can do is try to save other people's lives. And we may have differences in opinions, and you and I even may have differences in opinions on how to approach this. But it is an issue that needs to be continuously approached. That ought to be our absolute goal, is to save human beings from gun violence. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Thank you, Nate.